Yo! Hello viewers, it's Peter Elgar again with another of his classic mysterious cameras to show. What's in this little collection of brown leather cases marked made in Germany, do you think? Well, this I was given last Friday at Brentwood District Photographic Club by a member who has never used it for 10 years, but he had it new from 1950s, so it's over 60 years old. It is a Voigtlander VITO B, classic 35mm German made camera. Look at that little beauty. And in the other mysterious leather cases marked made in Germany, we've got a lens hood and a filter ring that's just dropped out. And here is a tiny little buoy exposure meter. Never had one of these, but I can't fathom, it's a bit difficult to get out. I've never had one of those and I can't fathom out how it works. I've set an ASA and you press this and the dial whizzes round, but at the moment I can't get it to make sense. There is an incident light attachment for it here, which I've put on the front, but I haven't been able to use that yet. But the Voigtlander has got a 50mm colour Scopar lens and a Prontor SVS shutter, speeded 1 second to 1/300th of a second with brief time. It's not a rangefinder, so there's only one window. There's no second window for rangefinder, so what do you do? Well, this is the focusing. You've got to guess the distances that you use, or else you set a tape measure. So we'll take it out of the case first. And I put neats for oil on all this leather, and the strap after 60 years was very dry, but now the strap is very happy, and so is the case. So we'll have a look at the Voigtlander VITO B. As I said, it's got no rangefinder, and you set the apertures here, and it has what is known as an interlinked shutter and aperture with this EV system. And as you move it, say from 125th here on the diamond to f16 there, you don't have to recalculate if you want to change it to a 60th. You move it to a 60th and the aperture changes to f22 automatically. You don't have to recalculate it. But then when you run out of apertures here, what do? You press these little lugs here, and then you pull it up, and it enables you to pull the aperture ring round to whatever you want. So that's now on 3.5, and you can move it down to a 15th of a second, a 30th of a second, quarter, half, and 1 second, and brief time. Now the trouble is, with this camera you can't take test photographs unless there's a film loaded. You can't wind it round and nothing happens. You can't set the shutter unless there's a film loaded. So how do you load the film? Well, here's a little strange lever, and you load it through the base like the Leica. You twist that, oops, it all pops out. Luckily it doesn't all fall down to the ground in loads of little bits. So that's the interior. Some people say you can pull this cog along until it clicks, but I've tried that and it doesn't work, because there is a shutter fault with this, which I'll tell you about in a minute. So I can't show you the operation of the shutter unless we have a film loaded. So I have here an old test film that we can show you quickly how to load it. So we stick that in there, and then we look for a little slot here It's never easy doing it on a video camera, especially when you're sort of standing up. You stick it in the little slot here, like that. Wind. Then that's come out like that. There we are. Now you've got to look to make certain the film is within the tracks, so you can wind it like that. And at the top are some cogs. Make certain you can feel that the cog with your thumb there. Wind it, tension the film so it's flat. Yeah, it's flat. You flip that over, and then you close here. You twist that. Now the film is loaded. Now you should be able to see the film rewind knob turning as it goes through, and it does. But look, I'm pressing the shutter and nothing is happening. The shutter is firing as the end of this wind reaches the end here. It goes now. So that was a 30, so we put it to a slower speed. I'll do this trick here with it. Open it up a bit like that. We put it on 1 second, and then you may be able to see if we can put this up to 3.5. We'll see if we can show you the light if the shutter shows. Now it should not fire until you press the button, but this is a faulty shutter. No. There, you see the shutter's firing as I wind. That's 1 second. Look, it shouldn't do that. So what can we do? We have to pay for a huge repair job on the Prontor shutter. Yeah, look, it's going at ½ second. That's faulty. So what I've done, I have taken some pictures, but very carefully, you listen. You see it doesn't work there. You listen, shutter's going now. Outside, you don't use ½ second, you can use instantaneous, but what a shame. This is not a hot shoe, it's a cold shoe. We can fit flash guns in there, and I have. This bit is for fitting a contour viewfinder, a Zeiss contour viewfinder. On the side here, we have the synchronization for flash bulbs, which is M, and X is electronic, stands for xenon, and V is for delayed action. Now, I've tried the delayed action, but as it's 60 years old, the guy hasn't used it for 10 years, the delayed action didn't work. I'll see if we can get it to work. No sound. It's faulty, I'm afraid. What a shame. So when you want to unload the film, you have to pull this little catch here, and the rewind lever pops up. Oops, that works. Thank God for that. And then you turn this, and the film, after about ½ an hour of winding, because they didn't invent a lever wind till later on, you hear a click and your film has gone back into the cassette. So we'll open it up and show you the action of the film. There's the film being rewound into the cassette. Good job, this is a dummy film. I was given a load of these bonus print films. They'd been badly stored, and when they are developed they're all green, they're no good at all, but they're okay for demonstration purposes. Now the real film I used was a Fuji Superior 200. That's the one. And you see, it's got a cut bit there where I've cut the film. Now the negatives, I dropped the negatives on the floor. That is the strips of film which I developed from the Fuji Superior, and I've cut the film, so you haven't got a 36 there. So how do you cut the film? Well, what you do in the dark, you've got to pull that so that this pops up, because the film's across here, say. You pull that till it pops up, and then you pick up the film with your fingers, like that, in the pitch dark or a change, and cut across there with your scissors. And then you can pull the exposed bit out of the chamber here. And that's what I do when I cut my films. But it's a good little camera, except for the shutter fault. And these Prontor SVS shutters are so complicated, it's going to cost a fortune for a repair. I'm at the moment asking on various forums. I've joined the VITO B forum on Flickr, and hoping to get some help there. Now, oh yes, how do you set the numbering system? Well, there's a little window there with numbers in it. There's a tiny little wheel here. You've got to have good eyesight. And you turn that little wheel till you see a diamond appear in the window above. And that is the start. When you start winding, it counts down, look, with nothing. Oh, there, a little black diamond has appeared. You must remember to set that, otherwise you can't tell when you're coming to the end of the film. But the flash socket is here, and I plugged the flash in there, and it all works. So we'll show you some prints now. What I did, I scanned the negatives, and I got some TIFF files, and I printed from the TIFF file. So we'll show you some pictures here. The flash ones first. Look, there's a couple here. I took the Mickey Mouse is indoors with flash. That's an F11. And then I went outdoors in the garden and I used a bit of daylight plus a bit of flash for this one. That's on 5.6, so it's a bit of daylight and a bit of flash there. That's sharp. Then we went to Chelmsford in Essex in England, and I took a few snaps there. This was all daylight. That was 125th and F11. That's quite sharp. Look, and look at that. It's on the intersection of thirds. You see the bicycle basket. Look at that. Here, reflections in John Lewis store. It's only on cheap paper. I printed them out to show you. Reflections. Of the tiger. Now, no animals or humans were harmed in the making of this photo. That was in our bedroom. And the tiger was taken at full aperture, 3.5, with a camera on a tripod, and I had to measure with a tape measure 3.5 feet on the scale from back of the camera where the film is to his face, 3.5 feet, and then hoped it was sharp. And it's not trivially sharp because that's full aperture on a 60-year-old lens, so it's a bit soft. But overall, it's quite a good little camera, except for the shutter fault. So that's about all I can tell you about it. Hope you've enjoyed this quick little rundown on the famous Voigtlander VITO B. See you again, folks, and please subscribe to my channel. It's free.